For some people, spending tens of thousands of pounds on a luxury watch is worth every penny, but it can also put them at increased risk of muggers.
They've been taking some pretty pricey timepieces. We're talking about Patek Philippe's, Rolexes, even one that I had to look up the pronouncer for, Audemars Piguet, worth 25 grand.
There's even warnings about watch thieves displayed on billboards in London, this one in Knightsbridge.
Behind the shimmer of diamonds and the tick of handcrafted gears lies a dark, fast-growing underworld. Luxury watches, status symbols worth tens or even hundreds of thousands, are vanishing from the wrists of the wealthy, and sometimes at a deadly cost. Today we're going to deep dive into the world of luxury watch theft and how it is putting the wealthiest at risk. Luxury watches are everywhere, and for some they're more than just a flex, they're an obsession. I personally am not a watch lover, however, in a world obsessed with status, a watch does something unique. It doesn't just shout like a sports car or a flashy outfit, it whispers and can be slightly more subtle. For some, owning a luxury watch can almost be like being part of an exclusive club. The obsession runs deeper than showing off. Collectors see watches as art, as engineering marvels. A Patek Grand complication isn't just expensive, it takes months to build. Thousands of parts all working in harmony, powered by nothing but the movement of your wrist. Many luxury brands rely on legacy storytelling, and some consumers see purchasing a luxury timepiece as part of their legacy, owning something that they can pass down through generations. And some of these watches don't lose their value, they actually gain it. In 2017, Paul Newman's personal Rolex Daytona sold for £17.8 million, demonstrating how much these watches can appreciate in value over periods of time. And in 2025, there's a whole ecosystem built around luxury watches, collectors, flippers, enthusiasts, and yes, some scammers too. Because when something's worth that much, it doesn't just attract attention, it attracts danger. Luxury watches are portable wealth. They don't beep like your phone or track steps like a smartwatch, but they do one thing very well. They unfortunately make you a target. And that's where this obsession becomes a risk. Because when your wrist is worth more than some people's yearly salaries, some people will do whatever it takes to get it from you. In recent years, we have seen an uptick in luxury watch theft, especially in large cities like London and New York. From street snatches to follow home heists, these thieves scout and strike their victims.
As we turned down a residential road, man got off the back of the moped, charged towards me, screaming, "Give me your watch."
And how do you think the watch was spotted?
There's basically no way you could have seen it from the road. The only time it would have been visible was when we were in the restaurant, when I pulled my jumper up and we were eating.
Our investigation heard how thieves are known to stalk victims and plan their attacks.
Luxury watch thefts are often highly targeted, strategic, and increasingly violent. Thieves know exactly what they're after and how to get it. And these types of crimes usually follow a certain routine, with the first step being scouting the victim. Luxury watch thieves rarely strike randomly, and a lot of the time they use social media to identify their victims. Victims often post wrist shots or tag luxury spots, putting them on the radar for these kind of crimes. Although I think that we are moving away from as much social media flexing, this is one of the risks that many social media creators put themselves at risk of being victims of crime by posting their ostentatious lives on social media. I have quite a few videos on this topic on my channel if you wanted to get a deeper dive into this, but a lot of the time luxury watch thieves have identified their victim and follow their trends in posting and pay extra attention to where they go, their habits. And part of social media for some includes oversharing, which makes it really easy for this to happen. These thieves also use location-based targeting and scout out high-end restaurants, car parks, hotels, and even events where they can pretty much guarantee that there will be more wealthy clientele wearing more expensive items. Dealerships or expos can also be lookout spots for these kind of criminals. Some victims are followed home right from the boutique. Follow home robberies are one of the most common and dangerous tactics. A thief or a team spots someone wearing a valuable watch in public, they follow them by car or on foot back to their home or hotel, and once alone, the victim is ambushed in a driveway, elevator, or even inside their property.
Police say thieves are targeting victims based on watches or jewelry they're wearing or cars they're driving, following and then robbing them. Cases are rising, and police are warning people to be on alert.
However, this is not the only technique that is used. There are also smash and grab attacks. These tend to be faster and more brutal and often executed by motorbike or scooter gangs, especially in cities like London and Paris. The thief rides up, jumps off and forcibly rips the watch off the wrist of the victim. In some cases, they use weapons or even smash car windows whilst the victim is stopped. These attacks are often very fast, lasting less than 15 seconds, and don't always even give the victims an opportunity to identify what exactly is going on before their property is taken.
There has been a 65% increase in the number of watch thefts in the capital, with thieves turning to ever more violent means.
Tackling the moped thieves, the Met targeting those taking high-value items on London streets.
In December 2024, British television presenter and architect George Clark, known for shows like The Amazing Spaces and The Restoration Man, was robbed at knife point in central London. The incident occurred near Oxford Street, a popular area in the city. Clark recounted the harrowing experience on social media, expressing his anger and frustration. He shared a message directed at the thief stating, "To the little who stole my watch tonight, I pity you," and added, "It's only a watch at the end of the day, although I loved it and grafted for it, but I could have been stabbed, so I let it go." He further added, "I'm okay, I'm just angry with myself. I wanted to hit him, but I'd be the one done for assault." And this kind of frustration shared by George is not uncommon, especially in these faster smash and grab style attacks. And as you can imagine, it can be really scary for victims of this kind of crime. Despite the traumatic nature of the robbery, Clark emphasized that the stolen watch had no sentimental value. He noted that it was the most expensive watch he had purchased, but it was not a gift from a family member. Clark expressed relief that he was unharmed and acknowledged the severity of the situation. But there is also another technique that is used to execute watch thefts, and that involves inside jobs. Some thefts involve someone close to the victim. A personal assistant, valet, or acquaintance tips off criminals, and sometimes watch resellers or traders may even orchestrate fake meetups to rob sellers. Distraction or trick thefts are also common in crowded tourist areas. Thieves use fake petitions, accidental bumps, or even flirtation to get close. This technique is a bit harder to execute with watches, just because watches are held so close to your person. To get it off someone's wrist can be quite challenging. However, I have seen examples of thieves removing watches off the wrists of victims in scenarios where they may be drunk or high. This kind of theft is quite common in cities that have quite large party culture, like in places like Ibiza and Marbella. Sometimes victims can be so intoxicated or unaware that watches are unbuckled and taken without them even noticing until later.
That restaurant right there is the restaurant that I was at the night that I was robbed. I don't remember anything because I was completely blacked out. Two gentlemen with Eastern European accents helped me into a taxi cab and must have stolen my Rolex, because when I woke up at my boyfriend's house the next morning, it was not there.
No matter the approach, luxury theft can just be really dangerous, and this has been highlighted more recently in the sad case of Jennifer Abbott, a 69-year-old award-winning film director known professionally as Sarah Steinberg. She was found unalived in her Camden, North London flat on June the 13th, 2025. She had been fatally stabbed and had tape over her mouth. A diamond-encrusted Rolex watch believed to be missing from her home may have been a key clue in the investigation, and the police have suggested that this watch may have been one of the driving factors for this crime. The police are continuing the investigation and exploring multiple lines of inquiry, including the disappearance of the Rolex watch. Abbott was described by a neighbour as a multifaceted individual, a doctor, an actor, a film director, and noted that she had a vibrant personality. Her tragic death has left the community in shock.
Old Bailey has heard that a film director found dead at her home with her Rolex watch missing had been stabbed 8 times in the neck by her sister. 69-year-old Jennifer Abbott Dward was last seen alive on June the 10th when she returned home from walking her pet corgi. Her younger sister, Nancy Pexton, is charged with her
And although it may seem more rare that these crimes lead to the death of someone, this type of crime is growing in popularity and leaves many of its victims traumatized and anxious. And this is not the only example of a public figure falling victim to this kind of crime. Keanu Reeves, renowned for his role in The Matrix and John Wick, became a victim of a significant burglary in late 2023 when his Los Angeles home was broken into. Among the stolen items was a Rolex Submariner valued at approximately $9,000, which had been engraved with a personal message. This watch was part of a set Reeves had gifted to his stunt team following the filming of John Wick Chapter 4. In a turn of event reminiscent of his John Wick character's experience, the stolen Rolex resurfaced over a year later. In December 2024, Chilean authorities, in collaboration with US law enforcement, recovered the watch during a raid in Santiago. The operation targeted a criminal network involved in violent robberies, leading to the seizure of the Rolex and other valuable items.
Local Chilean media reporting that 16 watches in total were recovered over the weekend, and that at least 3 could belong to Reeves. It's the latest development in a continuing crackdown on alleged crime tourism rings. Officials sounding the alarm last year over Chilean criminal gangs connected to a string of burglaries across Southern California.
A 21-year-old suspect was arrested in connection with the burglary. The Chilean police's efforts underscores the international reach of such crimes and the complexities involved in recovering stolen luxury items. Once stolen, luxury watches are often sold very quickly, within 24 hours, to an underground dealer. They are usually re-engraved or stripped of their serial numbers and smuggled abroad to places like Dubai, Hong Kong, or even Eastern Europe, where recovery is unlikely. The recovery of luxury watches is usually quite uncommon, and the authorities' ability to find Keanu Reeves' watch, I think, had part to do with the distinctive engraving that he had on it. The watches often end up in black markets with fake boxes and re-engraved serial numbers. The dealers who buy these stolen watches don't tend to ask any questions, and they pay much less than the market value, often in cash, to move the watch fast. Surprisingly, some of these watches also end up on places like eBay, Chrono24, or with Instagram dealers, and can sometimes reach grey market watch stores, often overseas where authentication laws are looser. There are also WhatsApp groups and private Discord channels for collectors and traders. Some buyers are unaware of how these watches are sourced, but also there are many that just simply don't care that the piece is stolen, especially if the price is right. Part of the complexities of recovering stolen luxury watches is the amount of hands that one watch can pass through once it's stolen, and this bouncing through enough hands sometimes leads to watches reappearing as a pre-owned deal from an unknown seller. Without a paper trail, it's almost impossible to trace, especially if it's been overseas. This contributes to the reason why recovery is so very rare. Most victims don't have their watches registered. Police rarely have the global reach or resources to track individual watches, and criminals act very fast. A luxury watch can be out of the country in 24 to 48 hours. The cases we have discussed in today's video highlight the risk of wearing valuable items in public spaces and serves as a reminder of the importance of personal safety. The uptick in these kind of thefts has also sparked discussions around the prevalence of such crimes, especially in busy urban areas. Owning a luxury watch can feel amazing, but it also requires that you are smart about protecting it. There are a few ways that you can stay safe and keep your prized timepiece secure, and these include being discreet in public. Avoid flashing your watch around strangers. Keep it covered when possible, especially in crowded places or at night. Register your watch. Use manufacturer services or databases like Watch Register to log your serial number. This helps law enforcement track stolen watches. Be mindful on social media. I think this is one of the most important tips. Avoid posting detailed photos of your exact location with your watch, as this can tip off thieves. Avoid posting in real time, and I think it's usually best to be fairly vague about what you own and where you're wearing it on social media. I know that this can be difficult for a lot of content creators, especially those who create content that has a luxury focus. It can be really tempting to post about the things that you own, whether that's because you just want to share or you want to provide a review, or it just looks nice in photos. However, doing all of these things can make you a target. It's really important to stay alert and trust your instincts. If a situation feels off, like someone may be watching you or acting suspicious, don't hesitate to leave or ask for help. And actually outlining some of these points feels a bit depressing, because I don't think that it should have to be that if you buy something you love, that you have to think about how you might hide it, because I almost feel as though that partly defeats the object. But in 2025, it seems that it's becoming more and more important to give as much consideration as possible to how you are presenting yourself in public. You can also do things like ensure that you have specialized insurance that covers theft, loss and damage, and keep photos and purchase receipts handy for any claims. If you've ever admired the craftsmanship behind a luxury watch, you know that sometimes they're more than just timepieces. For many, they're symbols of passion, precision, and prestige. However, unfortunately, they are prime targets for thieves. If you own a luxury watch, it's important that you stay smart and safe and do what you can to, most importantly, protect yourself. Have you ever had a close call or know someone affected by a watch theft? Do let me know down below in the comments.